Can't.
Okay, it is August 14th, it's 4:01. I will go ahead and call this meeting to order. I'll do roll call of planning commission members. Howard Tripps.
Here.
Abby Dahlman. Here. Joey Edwards.
Here.
Lupe Bobadilla. Jamie Seifer. And Heather Lind here. County commissioners, Commissioner Mutch. Here. Commissioner Marcella. Here. And Commissioner Fiedler. Okay. Any changes or additions to the agenda?
No changes or additions.
We have minutes to approve from July 24th. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Edwards moves to approve the minutes from the July 24th meeting.
One second.
Okay, any discussion?
Seconds.
Okay, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Great. And then I have updates from staff.
Yeah, so we do have the Conrad Lindis file, September 11th.
September 11th. Yeah.
September 11th. And I think our other updates are that we have met with some consultants for some technical assistance on short-term rentals. We're going to be having a discussion with the Board of County Commissioners. We're looking, staff's looking to schedule a work session with the board as we are nearing the end of our moratorium period. So it's really time for staff to have a discussion with the board about where we are. And so that'll be upcoming. And then we do have a preliminary plan in from Tabor's Star, that we are right in the middle of a completeness review on. We have kicked off our fee study for the department, which is really exciting, which hasn't been, fees haven't been looked at in 20 plus years. And we are working on, I know Bryce, do you have some updates on GIS?
Not any particular ones. Well, so we've been really cleaning up our data and doing a good job on that. And I guess, yeah, the big update is we've been working on some wall maps.
Nice.
Yeah, Tristan at GIS Tech has really taken on that as a big element of what he's working on right now. And so I think we're at the point now where I'm reviewing it. We need to go to a couple other agencies like Public Works just to make sure that everything's looking good on their end. And then we want to present it to the Planning Commission for
Awesome.
review and vetting and potentially approval. So we'll start with the zoning map. A little bit more straightforward, but we've had a lot of rezonings and zoning changes since our historic ones. I think the last one was in 2015. So there's some updates there, and then after that, we'll try to address a wall map, which is just a little bit more, there's a lot more nuance in there, and will require a lot more work on the back end just to make sure that we're creating and collating the data that we need and we want to present rather than all the data we have necessarily. We don't want to declare any roads as official that aren't official or, things like that. So, but yeah, the zoning map should come for review pretty quickly and then roadmap after that. And, but just take a look at our GIS maps. They've been cleaned up a lot. We're filling in a lot of missing gaps in data and correcting a bunch of areas that have just kind of been historic pain points as well.
We've also had our initial conversation with community builders about helping us to kind of go into those next stages and steps of that growth planning, the conversation that we've started to have. And so they are sending us some information for engagement. We've told them that we think that this is going to be kind of more of like a year-long process, starting at the end of this year, going into next year in preparation for comp plan in 2025. And so we're supposed to be getting some more information and proposals from them to go into that engagement. And so I'm super excited to help them kind of help facilitate these next conversations. So that's all pretty exciting. And I think we've got quite a few lot consolidations, building permits are staying steady. And our code enforcement, I guess we like to refer to it as code outreach, has made some strides, and I think we are going to be looking at bringing a work session to the board that we'll invite you to as well once it's scheduled, just to give you kind of an update. Code outreach and enforcement is something that's kind of lingered for a period of time in the community, and we are trying to make some very intentional strides with that. And so we are looking to set a work session so that we can just bring the discussion forward and kind of fill everybody in, both the Board of County Commissioners and the Planning Commission, of where CPD is in our new staffing position and the progress that's being made. So excited about that as well. And I don't think we have anything else that I can think of. CC or Bryce?
Next planning commission meeting, we have the tabled backcountry rezone file to hear as well.
Yes, yes. So we will suggest that that's got some complexity to it. So please reach out to Bryce if you would like to discuss that before the hearing. We haven't done a rezone in a period of time. And certainly we haven't thought about one in the backcountry as it's a new zone district. So please reach out if you have any lingering questions or you'd like to talk to staff about different aspects of that application.
Is there an updated staff or will there be an updated staff report as you get closer,
Probably not, but we're meeting with the applicants in the next week or so.
Okay,
And so we'll discuss, I don't know what they've discussed, but we might have some more information.
okay.
Report out after that.
And if you don't, if you could just send the old report back through, please.
Sure. Yep.
Absolutely. Yes, and our goal is to get staff reports out a little more timely. I apologize for the Friday. I was thinking I was gonna have a grandbaby by today. It hasn't happened yet. So we're still waiting for the call now. So, but I came home so I could be here tonight with all of you guys. I was just making her more nervous by asking her every 5 minutes if it was time yet. So it was time to come home. Okay, I think that's all we have.
Go down to new business. We have file 23-18, which is the Crum Automotive Repair Shop conditional use permit. I will go ahead and read an opening statement. The Lake County Planning Commission and the Board of County Commissioners will now conduct a joint public hearing. This statement I am reading shall be incorporated into and made part of the record on these proceedings. The Planning Commission and the Board of County Commissioners have jurisdiction to conduct a joint public hearing on a conditional use permit application under sections 3.6.1 of the Lake County Land Development Code. The purpose of this hearing is to consider whether the conditional use permit application should be approved. In considering that matter, the Commission will address the approval criteria set forth in section 3.6.1.f of the Lake County Land Development Code. The procedure to be followed this evening in this hearing will be as followed. Number one, members of the commission and the board will disclose any ex parte communications. 2, the county staff will make their initial presentation. 3, the applicant may then make their presentation. 4, after that, any other persons either supporting or opposing the application may present evidence. 5, supporting and opposing witnesses may be questioned by the commission and the board. Once questioning is concluded, no further questioning is permitted unless granted by the chair. 6, the applicant may then present any rebuttal evidence. The parties and witnesses are asked to not submit redundant, irrelevant, or cumulative evidence. If someone has already made the point that you wish to say, simply say so. The chair will also require that all comments be made to the Planning Commission and the board and that there be no dialogue between the applicant and members of the audience. At the conclusion of the evidentiary portion of the hearing, the chair will entertain a motion to close the evidentiary portion of the hearing and the commission will discuss and weigh the evidence. Then there will be a motion to close the discussion phase of the joint public hearing. The Board of County Commissioners will then retire from the meeting and the chair of the Planning Commission will entertain a motion on the application. The motion may take the form of any one of the following recommendations. 1, approve the application with no conditions. 2, approve the application with recommended conditions. 3, approve the application with newly identified conditions. Or 4, deny the application. The planning director shall make record of any substantial discussion on the motion and include that in the record with the recommendation of the commission. The commission's recommendation will be in the form of a statement of motion. Are there any objections to the jurisdiction of the commission or to the form or substance of these proceedings? Okay, hearing none, I will now ask each planning commissioner member and each county commissioner if you have any ex parte communication to disclose, and if so, to please disclose that now. Howard Tritz.
None.
Abby Dahlman.
None.
Joey Edwards.
None?
Heather Lynn, none. Commissioner Munch.
None?
Commissioner Marcella.
None.
Okay, staff may then start.
Great, thank you so much. Let me go here. Okay, so this is a conditional use permit application for a change in occupancy at 1890 County Road 8. Previously, so we are talking about this highlighted yellow parcel here off of County Road 8. The zoning in this area is business. And I think it's notable, I want to talk just a little bit about the change in occupancy. And while this metal building was built to house Mountain Structures Company owned by the applicant, they are looking to retire and repurpose the building and look to rent it to an auto repair shop. But I think the first notable similarity in the types of uses are some of the hazards associated with it. But obviously, with this industrial type structure that was built to house the previous use, there's a certain level of lesser degree of concern about the placement of an auto repair shop at this location. Perhaps surprising to some, a contractor trade shop with indoor operations and storage is a use by right. So while the applicant didn't have to get a conditional use permit for their use, they did, however, go through a fully vetted site plan review. Through the site plan review, the structure was, the site was looked at, the drainage of the site, the location. This gives you a better post-construction idea of the site. So in 2015, the applicant went through that vetted process whereby the Planning Commission reviewed the design, the lighting. You will see that they have lighting that is dark sky compliant. They're not considering or allowing the tenant to bring in any new lighting that would not be dark sky compliant. And the site was reviewed for access. A berm was put in that kind of provides a little bit of buffering in the front of the area. You will see that there's ample parking. Code requires 1 parking spot per employee, and then for an auto repair, 2 parking spaces per bay. So they readily have 14 parking spots, which would certainly serve the operation. They anticipate they're going to have 6 to 7 employees, which then would allow another 7 spots and easily 3 bays of work, should they be fully staffed at any given time. So again, the office area that's upstairs in the building is a little over 2,000 square feet, I believe, and the downstairs is a little over the upstairs is about 1,200 square feet, and the downstairs is about 4,600 square feet, give or take a little bit. So they both, an auto repair is considered a commercial use, whereas Mountain Structures was considered an industrial use. However, both uses under the code are held to performance standards, industrial performance standards. These standards require that the operation mitigate noise and hazards that would create or emit any kind of obnoxious level or dangerous degree of heat, glare, radiation, or fumes beyond the boundary line of the property. And so the industrial standards that are held to this business really kind of speak to any concerns that we would have from an auto repair use. The repair itself, we're categorizing this as passenger vehicles, light and medium trucks, and other consumer motor vehicles, such as motorcycles, boats, and recreational vehicles. And this is the kind of use that generally the customer does not wait at the site while the service or repair is being performed. The code considers the office space as an accessory use as well as if they had to do any sales of parts or vehicle storage. Those are all allowable accessory uses through the code. Exceptions would be, and we just want to make sure that it's communicated that work on any kind of industrial vehicles or heavy equipment would be categorized under a different type of use, but I don't think that's the intent by the tenant for them. And while there are no use-specific standards to auto repair, the things that we need to consider is the waste that's generated by the use, which is used oils, antifreeze, grease, and batteries. And so staff has suggested a condition that along with trash containment should be properly managed on site. A lot of times the oil that is a byproduct of the service is repurposed as heating oil for RPM has a unit like that, and I know they accept oils from other, like when we did Balltown Mini Motors, they took their oil to RPM, and so it's kind of repurposed. So there's a lot of opportunities. Obviously, batteries are taken back in by the supplier, so we just want to condition and make sure that those products are, and those waste products are properly managed and repurposed wherever they can be. The other thing that I think that we would just talk about are that in this area, the adjacent uses, there's really an array of different types of uses in the area. But we've got to the east, Earl's Greenhouse cultivation and storage area. To the west, Acorn Petroleum. To the south is Leadville Railroad and mini storage, and then kind of scattered around the site are various types of housing units. But more, you're going to see more industrial uses adjacent, which again is a finding of a conditional use permit, that there is harmonious adjacency in the uses. So the application was duly referred to the agencies, and conditions of approval are suggested to support the agency awareness and response to the development or the repurposing and new use of the property. So the conditions for approval that are being suggested by staff are that the use remain in compliance with the industrial performance standards, that the use remain consistent, like we talked about, with the vehicle repair under the category of commercial, and not going into that industrial side. If that were to occur, then we would just be looking at a change in the use. Prior to the operations, the applicant would be required to have a change of occupancy inspection to determine compliance with the Lake County Resolution 2213, which is the building code. So again, I don't anticipate that we probably have any issues. They have a Knox box installed. So the fire department did an inspection for them previously. And so if the property needs to be accessed after hours, in the case of an emergency, there is a Knox box for access by the fire department. They also have an installed emergency egress lighting. And so I don't anticipate, but as good measure, because we do have a change in occupancy types, we are just asking that the building inspector do a walkthrough just to ensure there's no modifications that need to be done. Not really anticipating anything. We are asking that prior to operations, that the fire department just conduct a walkthrough of the property, and the applicant would be responsible for any recommendations or requirements that might be made as a result. Again, they've walked through previously, and obviously with steel and concrete construction, there were a lot of similar hazards between the two uses. But we just want to make sure that we've created situational awareness between all agencies. And that really leads to the next suggested recommendation for a 24-hour emergency contact to be distributed to our department, the fire department, the Office of Emergency Management, the Sheriff's Office, just in case there was an emergency on site. We would know how to contact the most responsible party that could respond. And then something that comes up with most all service auto repair and body work shops is the thought that creating some site obscuring fencing. And so staff suggesting maybe that threshold is about 10 vehicles, or if the storage is readily visible from the road. Obviously, this site is a little over 8 acres. I think it's 8.5 approximately. And so it really does give an opportunity for some storage of vehicles. But we would just suggest, as you generally look in this area, some fence screening so that there isn't just the addition of a lot of vehicles on site that aren't behind a fence would really benefit the property. And property owner may already be requiring this of the tenant, I'm not sure. And then just that the operation will properly manage and dispose of the products and materials associated with the business. And so like we talked about in the staff report, those would be making sure that they dispose of those or recycle them appropriately. And then they are going to probably use this same amazing sign that was constructed that did have a permit, a building permit for it. So it may be that if they're just going to take out the middle section and put their own in there, no building permit may be needed. But we just put it in here just so we can review it with a tenant in case there needs to be any modifications to it. I don't anticipate anything because I don't think they're going to light it. I think they're just going to put and maybe the property owners can just affirm that. I think they're just going to put a new sign in the middle, but not add any lighting or anything to it. So those will wrap up, and then just our standard ones, that any statements and representations made by the applicant, either in the application or in today's hearing, just become conditions of approval. So that is all that staff has for the Planning Commission and the board, unless you have questions.
I think we can let the applicant, if you have anything you want to add, or you want to give any kind of presentation.
And covered it pretty well. I mean, we've talked to the renter, Danny Hernandez, about it, and we've talked to him about oil, and he's used to taking care of that. They currently rent a shop in Silverthorne, and they're used to dealing with, recycling oil, and and we'll probably have make sure they are trained in, egress and everything like that, and we've always got fire extinguishers posted, so I don't anticipate any problems from them. I think they're gonna be really reliable renters. And other than that, our storage, there is this upper level where the building is about 10 to 12 feet higher than behind the building. There's a driveway that drops down on both sides of the building. And so you wouldn't be able to see, we figured probably 7 or 8 parking spaces back there that, if somebody's waiting for parts or just to pay and pick up the car. I really don't think there's gonna be a lot of cars that they're gonna wanna have sitting around.
Great.
But that is a good place to store them without a fence. I mean, you can't see it from the road anyway.
So, yeah, I would just ask if I may, the applicant, so if you think that comfortably like 7 or 8 cars, then this condition wouldn't come into being relevant. But at that 10, like if they were gonna have more, would that be helpful to you as a property owner too, if they had some screening, if it got to be beyond that? But so that 10 is kind of a good threshold, maybe?
Sure, yeah, I think it is. And we can put it in their lease that they're responsible for putting something, a privacy fence or something back there if they start getting more than that.
Planning Commission or County Commissioners, anybody have any questions for applicant or staff? Can we switch back just in case we have anybody on?
Yes, absolutely.
Kayla, do you have any questions for the applicant or?
I don't at this point.
Okay. Well, this time I can entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Yeah, move we close the public hearing for.
Edward seconds.
All in favor of closing public hearing? Aye.
Aye.
Fritz, aye.
Sorry, I didn't think we had public comments. Sorry, I could ask. We can reopen it. If public comment.
Nothing to say at this point, but congratulations on retirement.
Great. Okay. You're excused.
Okay.
Have a really great night, ladies. You don't even have to come back tonight.
Yeah. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Thanks.
Oh, sorry, Cece,
No,
last
you are
time.
Mm. All right, at this time, I can entertain a motion on file 23-18.
All right, I think it's my turn. All right, I move the planning commission recommend approval of file 23-18, 1890 County Road 8 Auto Repair CUP to the Board of County Commissioners with the following conditions. All statements and representations made by the applicant in this application and in the hearing shall be binding and considered as conditions of approval. 2, the use shall remain in compliance with the Lake County Land Development Code, section 5.2.9, industrial performance standards. 3, the use shall remain consistent with the LCLDC, section 9.6.7, vehicle repair commercial. 4, prior to operations, the applicant is required to have a change of occupancy inspection to determine compliance with Lake County Resolution 22-13 and shall comply with any subsequent conditions as a result of the inspection. 5, prior to operations, LLCFR shall conduct a walkthrough of the property. The applicant will be responsible for any requirements and or recommendations made as a result. 6, 24-hour emergency contact shall be distributed to CPD, LLCFR, OEM, and the sheriff's office. 7, site obscuring fencing shall be installed if more than 10 vehicles are stored on site or if storage is readily visible from the road. 8, the operation will properly manage and dispose of products and materials associated with the business. 9, the applicants will refer to the Lake County Land Development Code and apply for any applicable sign permits required for the use. And further finding, the approval criteria pursuant of the Lake County Land Development Code 3.6.1F have been met as evidenced in the staff report dated August 14th, 2023 for file 23-18.
Great, do I have a second?
Edward seconds.
Discussion on the motion? I'll just input a little comment quickly, is that I think what's cool about this application to me is just, we've talked about for years that current automotive repair shops are not where they should be. And this is like the perfect location for it. So I'm excited and happy that you guys are moving forward with this. This is fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The only thing better would be if you were relocating.
Heather, I have one comment, please.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not against this. I think it's a good deal, good thing to have. But, in the years we've been working together on the PZ board, we went through several of these auto repair shops, and it doesn't take long till they look like junkyards. And it's for a lot of reasons that can't be helped. I mean, things like people don't pick up their cars, they don't pay for their cars, or they're waiting for parts. But I just wish that there was some way of policing it and keeping it somewhat in control. But I will vote in favor of this particular service station for garage.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think there's we'll have to address enforcement stuff at a later date on some of those others, but I do like that this parcel has really great locations for those storage of vehicles when that comes up, because I believe it's inevitable as well. Any other comments or questions on the motion? Okay, I'll do roll call. Howard Tritz,
Aye.
Abby Dahlman,
Yay.
Joey Edwards,
Yes.
Heather Lind, aye. So our recommendation will go to the county commissioners, and then they'll vote on that recommendation on their next, I believe their next hearing. Okay.
Yes, that will be, they are the first and third Tuesday, so they have it tomorrow. So actually, the board won't meet again until September 5th. So it'll be September 5th. Unfortunately, because we have that extra week in August, which kind of throws us off a little bit.
Should I go ahead and send these notices to CPD and LFCFR about emergency contacts and the other requirements? Should I go ahead and do that or wait till September 5th?
If you already have that, there's no reason not to go ahead and get those out. I think that'll just be, and just let them know that the board's gonna act on it on September 5th, but you just wanted to provide it. That'd be great. Awesome.
Thank you. Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take care.
Take care.
And maybe that's gonna come up in your meeting that you mentioned.
Are you talking about enforcement or something else?
Here, do you wanna talk about that out after this?
Yes. Do we have a motion to, or do we have anything else we want to discuss, or a motion to adjourn?
Edwards moves that we adjourn.
Well, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, everybody have a good night.
Bye. Good to see you, Howard.
Bye, Howard.
Hey, it's good to be seen. Thank you all. Bye now.